Right after surgery, you have a very limited diet, and I think as much as you prepare yourself mentally for it, it is shocking. And you start realizing things that you can and can't eat.
The doctor said, mind what you eat, be very careful because you are stitched up. Obviously, if you expand those stitches too soon, you're gonna run the risk of stretching them. And then we'd have to go back and, re-stitch. How I chose to deal with that is I wanted to make sure that I got through that 3-month period with little or no issues.
Probably the biggest change is that because of that swelling and because those new connections that we've created are strong, we don't want you trying to overly test them. We put you on liquids for a couple weeks. So it's more small swallows and sips.
My goal was to be the best patient possible, so I tried to be very diligent and very religious. I tried not to take any liberties with it.
I think that the first thing most of us do that's against the rules is forgetting to chew your food very, very well.
It's kind of like being a baby. When you bring a baby into the world, they have formula, then they have baby food, then they have junior food, and then they move on up to finger food, table food.
Vegetables like pureed, liquid soups, and then finally pureed foods like mashed potatoes, and then by week 6, which just seemed like nirvana, a salad and steak cut up.
The program I was in was very specific about your feeding progression. Clear fluids at first, then some shakes, which I have difficulty with, but I powered through.
The hardest part was the protein shakes. Week 1 was fine, but once you've had a week's worth of protein shakes, it feels like you're force feeding them. And then it was like this mental association that even smelling it made me sick.
You're instructed to have 64 ounces of water a day along with about 60 to 70 grams of protein. It doesn't sound like much, but when you're not hungry, it's an awful lot.
Typically, we find that patients get really full if they drink at the same time as their meal. So if you're eating a very small portion of food and getting completely satisfied, add water to that, you're getting a lot less protein than you need to get.
So at that point, I was allowed to puree some soup and had something I had to taste something because orange popsicles were not cutting it anymore. And if I never see Jell-O again, it'll be too soon.
After a couple of weeks, I'd move on to cottage cheese and tuna fish and mashed or baked potatoes, lots of yogurt, lots of tuna fish. I think since that period of time, I have not had tuna fish since.
At the end of the second week, I called my doctor and I got him on the phone and I said very calmly and coolly, give me something to eat or I'll kill you.
I thought the process of healing teaches you a great deal because over time, every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, you're able to expand what you were able to eat, the quantity and the texture as well.
The only thing that was off limits for 6 months was pasta and bread, and initially I had thought, there is no way I'm going to be able to do that, because those were my favorite.
You had to relearn how to eat. Your stomach had to adjust, so you had to take it nice and slow. Everything that they ever taught you in a diet class started making sense.
I did it. I gave up pasta and bread for 6 months, and it really was great because I found out that I can still enjoy them. I just don't enjoy them in any kind of volume anymore.
So I found that all to my benefit, really, because again, it just added to the experiences that occurred well before for the 20 years prior in terms of managing what I need to do. And that's when I started to pull all of it together on an ongoing basis.